Beltelada! 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 Hi everybody! Hello fellow Beltelada! Already tired, everybody's already tired of this term.
Just get to the fucking point.
Welcome to our first The Expanse video! Woo! Woof! Super excited about The Expanse.
Why?
Because this show has so many things that I love. It allows you to think about politics, past politics, present politics, in this case future politics. You can find historical analogies, scientific stuff to talk about, societal constructs, past and present and future. Just has so much stuff to geek out on. We want to geek out on The Expanse on evolution. You are an evolutionary biologist.
Yes.
But it's not the evolution per se, biological evolution, because it's only like 300 years in the future.
Yeah. But we can talk about how populations grow apart, maybe biologically in the long run, also culturally, also linguistically.
In a loose Beltanoda until we crawl back into our holes in Bobo Beltanoda and do as we are told.
Of course, in their mentality.
It's related to your environment, your situation, societal situation, socio-economical, whatever. It changes like the paths that you take.
Yeah.
So let's start with Earth. So the Earth in the year 2350, I think they have like 30 billion people. Very different than what we have today, like 8 or a little bit more than that billion people.
The majority of people on Earth don't have jobs. They don't work at all. They live on basic assistance, which the government provides. It's not that they're lazy, you know. It's just that we can't give them enough opportunities.
You have to like put yourself into the lottery, the work lottery, and just like cross your fingers that you'll get picked to have a job.
They're all in the Yang Gang.
Oh, exactly. Maybe, yeah. I was wondering why he wasn't prime minister, president, or UN Secretary General. Yeah, maybe because he's not that good. I'm sorry.
Sorry?
I'm sorry. He's just like I'm not impressed at all. And okay, and Dawes, which who is Professor Valerie something from Chernobyl. Love this actor. He has such a great accent, Belter accent. He says that
Earthers cannot look upon a thing but wonder who it belongs to, huh? To make it their possession.
what happens when Earth has Mars and the belt, which is the asteroid belt, way outside, it makes them feel special. First of all, united, global, right? When you have like others that are far away, then it's easier to feel united within. Also, it makes you feel special. Like you're the motherland. Everybody's the motherland. We have stuff that you don't have. We have the sky, we have the horizon, we have the ocean.
An old world.
Like European versus the new world.
I mean, like Europe, obviously, in terms of culture and food, and it's superior to the New World in every way. So it's being snobbish is justified.
Through to the Second World War, when of course this was a place that was trying to think what happened in the Second World War. What do we do in the Second World War?
But maybe that's not the case in the long run, or in the wider solar system. Who knows, right?
Who knows? Apologies to American viewers.
America's awesome.
From this day forward, it's going to be only America first. America first.
Earth must come first.
Like they have like this unsaid like, sense of ownership of the solar system. So it's basically like a still capitalistic society, just towards the outside. The mentality that we know from our own world right now, that Earthers, let's say you go and explore somewhere, you find something, you take it. You want to bring back. I was at the belt and I got this souvenir. Bring something. You want to feel ownership.
I think the world, especially the Earth, the way it's extrapolated, like it builds on the current reality, even though extrapolating from that seems really implausible. So, for example, like the Earth's population right now is growing, And if you just continue the trend line, yeah, I guess we'll reach 30 billion at some point, except when we actually take into account how once women become more educated, they'll have fewer children, and when we take that into account and the rising prosperity levels on Earth, we see that, in fact, probably in our century, and let's hope that that is the case, we're going to cap at maybe about 10 billion or so, and then it's going to recede again. So are we going to hit 30 billion? Probably not.
Probably not.
Are we going to have, on the one hand, a UN, and on the other hand, sovereign nations with their own traditional clothes and flag and national anthem for another 300 years? Probably not.
Right, and you don't have like populist leaders or of the different factions. The factions within the UN are just like personal and whatever, what you think will be best in the future, but they're not coming from like this tradition or that tradition. And like, let's say like the Russians or the Chinese, they don't care that they have an American looking president. That's fine for them. So maybe that would have been interesting to see the factions played out this way. Yeah. Okay, but let's go to Mars. So Mars, that's a whole different ball game. They're going to a different planet that doesn't have an atmosphere. And before we go into that, we actually already posted our first podcast about the Expanse, talking about the extrapolations and the projections and the predictions that the creators made to the world 300 years from now, to see what we thought was like good predictions and projections, what we disagreed with, and we had a really good time with it. So check out the link below in the description and tell your friends. Okay, so Mars. This is like a global project, planetary project. Started out like as a colony, and then they were like, no, we want to call the shots. And they had to become militaristic in order to defend themselves from Earth. They don't have this history of different nations, right? They're just like one nation, and they have like a 100-year project to create an atmosphere. So that's a whole different mentality when you take that into account and you project that like towards dozens and dozens of years of human culture. Like it evolves differently than what we know as human culture on Earth.
Mars was also the god of war, so the Martians being martial and sort of militaristic. Okay, that all fits.
But it makes sense also.
It also makes sense that when you have this national project to build something up, which is not necessarily something that the current generation benefits from, but you do it for future generations. I mean, this sounds like, you know, we are working towards, like the Soviet Union always said, well, we are working towards communism. Yeah. And, you know, in order to make that delicious omelette, we have to break a couple of eggs here and there. Yeah. So that...
It's religious a little bit.
It's religious a little bit, and it is something that kind of promotes this egalitarian mentality, basically, right? Because the Martians are collectivists.
They're an entire culture dedicated to a common goal, working together as one to turn a lifeless rock into a garden.
They work together for the greater good.
Right. And they have to follow orders. You can't just go and be individualistic and do your own thing.
No.
So on Earth, we see the different factions working against each other. We don't see that on Mars. So when Bobby Draper, when she starts like thinking individualistically, okay, this doesn't make sense. Why are they using me as a sacrificial lamb? Why are they bad-mouthing my soldiers? Why are they working with the Protogen Corporation to create this weapon? I don't like it. It's just like...
What happened to my team?
You'll get a firing squad for this.
So you have to toe the line. If you don't toe the line, everybody toes the line. If you go outside, boom, you're not one of us. Yeah. That also kind of makes sense, right? For this project, you need everybody to do their job. It's like ants.
Yeah. What the Martians are doing is they're building a new world as a collective enterprise. Historical parallels might be, for example, the way the Dutch have been building all this dry land to live on, or the way in Israel, the desert was made to bloom, so to
Right.
speak. I guess that promotes a kind of egalitarian ethic as well, compared to countries that didn't build themselves like this, but were sort of
Like-
created top down by
Yeah.
a great king,
Like the British.
like the British,
So the Dutch are more egalitarian than the British.
for sure.
Yeah. Israelis are definitely more egalitarian than the British. Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
It's basically like patriotism. What is patriotism? You are willing to die for your country. What does it mean? It means like for the collective, in order for the collective to achieve something that you yourself will not see.
No.
Right? Okay, let's go to everybody's favorite part of the solar system.
The belt! We are strong! We are sharp! And we don't feel fear! This moment belongs to us! For battle order!
They're like an incredible mix of races and ethnicities, and they're spread all throughout hundreds of kilometers. They're so far
More
apart.
than hundreds of kilometers.
Sorry. Hundreds of meters.
Many inches.
Millions of kilometers apart. Like most of them are closer to Earth than to each other. You have stations like all around.
So this is the asteroid belt that is outside the inner planets, but inside of the gas giants, like Jupiter.
What does it mean, gas giants?
So that's these very, very, very big planets like Jupiter. So a gas giant is actually a planet where most of the ball that you kind of see is not really like the Earth, like it's stone or something, but it's like gases, and it's sort of held together by a solid mass at the center, but most of it is like just swirling.
So you can't like step on it.
No. If you try to descend onto Jupiter, you first go into
Miles and miles and miles of gas.
many, many meters of gas. So the gas giants, they're more on the outer rim of the solar system, comparatively speaking, and actually they catch a lot of asteroids which would otherwise hit the inner planets. So for our survival on Earth, we should actually be grateful for the gravity of these gas giants, because they actually mop up a lot of asteroids, but between them and the inner planets there's another asteroid belt, and that's where the belters live.
But also, in the Expanse, the reason that the protomolecule didn't hit Earth is because it was caught by Saturn's gravity.
Right.
Boom. Okay, so they live on asteroids.
Yes.
So they don't have night and day. The sun is very, 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 very far away. And they live according to our standards. So they count the years. They have, I thought that was great. They have like, instead of hours in the day, they have first shift, second shift, third shift. So like third shift, they switch the lights to be more night-like. And I thought this is perfect. It tells you so much about this culture. First of all, they have to align themselves according to earthling human ways of thinking, but also it means that they're workers, basically, because they're like workers colonies.
Yeah. Are there examples in history of people being condemned to the mines, for example, permanently? So you never come to the surface, just work in shifts, so you completely lose the sense of...
Yeah, and also they look different. We have to mention that, because they don't live in 1G.
Yeah.
And also when the Martians, they go to Earth, they have a hard time adapting to the gravity, to the sky, seeing the sky.
Yeah.
You don't have the gravity, just makes you look different. And this we know this is true from astronauts that have gone into space. They become taller.
Yeah. So, and they are less mass, particularly, so there's less gravity, and so they are not being pulled down and compressed as much, and consequently they grow taller. But when they end up on Earth, then all of a sudden that becomes a problem, right?
Yeah, but also like they live shorter lives, and because then our bodies throughout evolution evolved to live on this planet with this gravity and not on an asteroid.
Yeah.
You see peoples of all shades and of all kinds of accents, but they still retain this shared experience that is always related to the inners, right? To what Mars and Earth and Earthers do.
Yeah.
So what unites them is being oppressed, feeling oppressed by the more privileged, more powerful. It creates a different kind of person, a different kind of culture. So what kind of culture would evolve from this environment? Harsh environment, first of all.
Yeah, so they live in a harsh environment and they feel like they're being exploited, and they're doing this sort of rough work, like maybe it's kind of the mentality of working on an oil platform or something like that, right? Or working in a colony, which is not like Mars started out as kind of like a settlement colony where people moved to go and live there and to terraform it.
And they liked it.
The asteroid belt is purely for extractive industry.
Yeah, nobody moves there because they like it over there. Which is, I think, is very realistic. You can see that in the US today, that you have all kinds of races and ethnicities who feel that they have the shared experience of being exploited or oppressed by the Republican Party. So they all find their homes in this one party. You can be Asian, of Asian descent, African descent, Hispanic descent, whatever it is. They all find common ground with those people who don't like them, and they feel they don't like us. Okay, let's all stick together. In a different political scenario, they could have problems, getting along.
Right, maybe you can compare it better to the people that all have gone to work in the Gulf states temporarily and being super exploited there by the native Arabs there.
But do they have a shared, we don't know.
Not at all. Hence the very restrictive immigration policy, so that there's a turnover, so that they actually cannot develop this shared experience and mentality.
I have a good example. Israel. We have the shared experience, whether we lived it or not, of being oppressed wherever we were. And we all came here, and we have here people from all over Eastern Europe, Western Europe, North Africa, the Middle East, India, South America. What unites all these people who look different, dress different, even the religious people pray different values, different food, different languages, everything is different. We have two things that unite us. First of all, we have this sense of being oppressed in the past and coming here to be free, or running away to be free, and we have a common enemy. So that kind of mirrors or resembles what the Belters, and I think I want to dedicate an entire video for that, because we see the Belters becoming a nation state and trying to turn all this the incredible mix of people and of things and try to make it a unified state. And how do they do this project? I think this merits a whole different video for that.
Matching outfits, really?
It's a work in progress. I'm still getting used to being in uniform myself. But it's growing on me. Certainly better than the clothes of indentured servitude.
So you have to subscribe and click the bell to get that. And also, if you like The Expanse, you should definitely spread this video around, because the number of videos and podcasts that we'll do about The Expanse is kind of correlated with the amount of success that they have. If we see that it's spread around and we have loads of views, we'll be super excited to not make 2-3 more videos, 10 videos, whatever. We could do as many as we want. Really excited towards the 4th season. And also check out our podcast about The Expanse, and after you listen to that one, you'll see that we have a lot more podcast episodes about science and history, social justice, all kinds of stuff. So thank you everybody for tuning in. Thank you, Rutger. Boom. We'll see you next time. Bye everybody.
Ground control to Major Tom. Ground control to Major Tom.